All right, thank you for sticking with us. The conversation, as I said, is about the young people and the state of the nation. Many of them have perceived whatever they are getting from this government, this administration, has not been enough. Some feel is a bit insensitive to the applied. Yeah, the government came on the heels of many challenges, admitting that even as this current government is of the same APC, the 8 years administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari, who was of the APC, who is still of the APC, bequeathed the baton to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But they said, yes, the same party, but the challenges that he inherited is quite enormous. So it has made them to begin a reformist and transformative agenda. They call it the renewed hope, and that won't come without its own skirmishes and challenges. And they have to take far-reaching decisions, and that's exactly what they have done, and which has thrown the nation, into what we are having now, the economic downturn, the skyrocketing, because it seems it's not ending yet, skyrocketing inflation that we have, especially about food, almost 40% inflation on year basis as at this time. And of course, some have said maybe it is bad governance. It's not just about challenges, maybe it's poor choices. And, it's a lot. We'll be speaking to two young people. And of course, one of them is here already. LADEJI is here with us in our analyst. Of course, thank you for staying with us,
Thank you for
LADEJI.
having me,
And
Femi.
of course, we are being joined from the King's country, the UK, by Tony Adejuwon. He's of the Urban Alert and he joins us. Of course, a Nigerian rather. He joins us from UK. Tony, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, good morning. I'm glad to be on the show. Thank you.
All right. And yes, let me start with Tony. We've been having Latiji for some time. Tony, yes, you are a bit far away from here, but your interests are here. You a different forum and fora rather talked about good governance. Yeah, you might be in the UK, but you are abreast of the information going on here. You have family members here. And what do you make of the position, the grievances, especially at this time, of young people with the government? Are they being a bit hasty? Because President Bola Tinubu has just spent like 13, 14 months in power. He has a 4-year mandate. But some young persons are saying they're displeased with his choices and the challenges the country is facing now. Where do you stand?
Well, with the help of technology, let me say that I'm actually on ground, contributing to issues and trying to also suggest solutions to social problems. Regarding the Nigerian project, I feel there are a lot of problems at hand, and one of the things is our leaders feel they want to work for us, not with us, and that's where they get it wrong. You don't just wake up in the early in the morning and say you want to change things like that. You have to carry the stakeholders along. Yes, the stakeholders could be very funny at some point, but you need to put their interest at heart so that you will not fail. At the end of the day, people won't say you took decisions. They tell you you failed, not because you didn't achieve your goal alone, but because you refused to uh, not carry them along and become a tyranny at your own pace. So for me, the last 1 year has been extremely difficult for Nigerians, not because the past government was funny, but because even the current government has been extremely funny. Uh, the language, the type of words we use as leaders have the capacity to push things positively or negatively. And
Yeah.
as a country, we've been battling this for so many years, and it seems our leaders have taken it for granted. If a president could say the subsidy is gone without proper planning, such a president has actually set up the country for a lot of economic problems. Subsidy is everywhere in the world. In the Western countries, the government pays for so many things.
mm,
So it's not that people are living on their own. The governments, because people pay tax to them, they take up so many responsibilities on behalf of the people. So I must say that the current government, the government led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, may have plans like the Renew Hope plans, but when he has refused to open it up for people to see, you're trying to show us a Spider-Man approach to this problem. I tell you, it will not work, not in a setting like Nigeria.
mm. All right. Tony, yeah, let me ask you now because there is palpable tension, so to speak, especially at the mention of this protest that has been slated for August 1st. And what would you say has been the bane of these challenges that we are facing? Now, you've talked about the subsidy discontinuation of subsidy payment, because many persons will say, according to 2023 budget, subsidy payment was meant to end in June. So President Tinubu might have said, yes, subsidy is gone, but it wasn't the one who stopped it, so to say, but he has continued that he won't pay it anymore, and he has thrown. Not, that's not the only policy, the floating of the naira, and will you blame it on poor economic choices by his government, by his handlers, or that it's just the reality, is a sad reality of taking over a dead economy? Many persons in this government have said they inherited a dead economy. No, Hiribadu said it. Many of those ministers said it. Is it as a result of he couldn't have done much? He inherited a bad economy, a dead rather, that's what it was called, economy, or the choices that he has made so far has been poor, and that's why we are where we are.
I think it's a fallacy for the current governments to say they inherited a bad economy. It's an insult to Nigerians because the current president was the right hand man of the former president. So no one would say a significant decision was made back then without direct or indirect knowledge of the current president. We have a lot of people in this government that had worked with the former president. The current speaker of the Senate, he was a minister at that time, and lots of them like that. So you can't heap the blame on the past president when you guys were actually there with him taking these decisions.
Mm.
Those, that being said, I also believe that no matter the decision you want to take as a leader, you need to ensure that all stakeholders are with you on this. You don't just wake up. Yes, there could be very serious ones, but I tell you, you can't just do that without proper planning. You've never been in the waters and you just feel the next thing you can do is to jump into the water. You will die. So that's just the fact. But for lots of policies that have been put in place by this current government, they have refused to plan adequately. Look at the issue of food inflation. One thing is to have problem, another thing is to accept that there is problem. We've seen their handlers and members of their party going from one station to the other saying they do not believe in the data that the same government actually put across to the people. So
Mm.
they are still trying to run away from the facts. And if you don't embrace your problem, you cannot have a solution. And
Right.
that is why Nigerians are hungry. They feel, do you guys think we don't have our sense intact? You refuse to answer critical questions, trying to play politics with the lives of the people. Can you imagine the number of people as of now that cannot even afford to eat one meal per day?
Mm.
So if during Buhari's tenure, we were named the um, poverty capital of the world. Imagine now, we must have been named the, abject poverty capital of the world
Right.
because people
Tony,
are
let me butt
terribly
in.
hungry.
Yeah, before I come to LADEJI, President Bola Tinubu, by the Constitution, has a 4-year mandate. That's, he has just spent, roughly 13 months. And the mandate is 4 years. Do you think, for the benefit of doubt, Nigerian young people are being impatient? Or is there what they are seeing? Is there what the young people are seeing that is triggering them beyond just these economic policies? Because some have termed it hunger strike, hunger protest. We are still going to the conversation about the protest. The Looming protest, some have called it protest against hunger. And in some guys, some are saying it's end bad governance. So is it a blend of both for you? But quickly, the first question is about the 4-year mandate. This man in power has just spent 13 months. Have we been hasty, or are we not being too hasty? Talking about young people.
So when we say the government has 4 years in power
Yes, it
to
does.
use in power, we are only trying to fuel uh, bad leadership. We are trying
But
to
that's the
make
reality.
case
That's the
for
truth.
what is very, very wrong. And that's just the reality. Let me give you an example. There are lots of countries that things can change within a day. We have countries that they have election on Thursday and there is change in power on Friday. That same Friday, the cabinet list was out, and people, started to work, and things, significantly changed within 1 week.
Mm,
So if we are trying to make case for a leader that have used more than a year, saying, "Oh, he has 4 years," and also don't forget that the political template in Nigeria, you only have 2 years to work. The first year, the second year, the third year, you are already, try to round up and see how you can push conversation about your re-election in the fourth year. The fourth year is the election year, so you really don't have anything to do. If your first steps or your first few steps during the first year isn't so attractive, you have not built a strong foundation for
mm,
governance within that 1 year, you are deemed to fail. Look at the record. Look at the times of yes. Don't let's even talk about the times of former President Olusegun Obasanjo,
mm,
because he received power from the military. Let's look at the times of the late President Yaradua, the first 1 2 years. Let's look at the times of former President Goodluck Jonathan, the first 2 years. Let's look at the times of the former President uh, Buhari, the first 2 years. And these are the things that actually pushed for the other years after that first 2 years. So if things are terribly bad as of now, so tell me what's going to happen in the next 2 years. And that's just the reality. And don't forget that we have a generation that do not even have a lot of patience
mm,
like the elderly ones. And I think this is what these governments do not understand.
right.
They need to communicate to that demography of people.
Mm,
Let them know what you're doing. Don't use paparazzi for governance. People knows a lot. With phones, people have freedom now.
right.
You can't bombard them with some terms and feel you are pushing something meaningful.
Mm.
They will punch your tire. So that's just the fact.
All right. Tony, please hang in there. I'll be back to you shortly. Let me come back to LADEJI ALABI. Um, you know, you are a family man. You are a young person, but very importantly, you're a Nigerian. With the feelers on the streets, you are here. We are here. We live practically in the same space. With the situation on ground and with these, you know, looming protests, so to speak, why are the for the and I want you to be categorical. Why are the young people aggrieved? What are their grievances against? Is it against this government or against leaders across all levels?
Well, Femi, I appreciate my guy here, Tony Jomo, who has actually laid a couple of foundations to this thing. If you look at trajectory of events in terms of leadership in Nigeria, it is one that is really very far away from the youth. And you can't run a world now with a 1960 mentality. You can't run a world now, you can't run a nation now with the mindset of the colonialist. Nigerian youth see what happens around the world. A lot of them knows they are not living in Nigeria, they are only surviving. Femi, a lot of Nigerian youth know that what they are meant to achieve at a particular age, you cannot. Look at it from when you want to get admission into the university. You get frustrated, a lot of years wasted, and they will tell you you need to serve before you get a job. By the time you are done with university at age 26, 27, you go for 1 year service, 29, you are done with service. You want to get a job. They tell you if you are above 25, you cannot get a job. You need 5 years experience. Now the question I ask is, if you don't employ these people, how do they get the experience? Where do you want the experience to come from? Do you get? Now, so a lot of youth see what happens around the world. They are mates that are not even doing what they are doing.
But this scenario you have just painted didn't start with a Tinubu government.
That's what I'm saying. That is where it is a day that you will say, this we don't want again. It is a day. It has been happening. You remember that during Buhari's regime, the NSAS saga that happened, SARS has been brutalizing people for years. But when it got to that stage, youth said no. Because it's funny that you don't even need to be, a person that does fraud on the internet before you are, you are just tagged a fraudster. I've been stopped once. If not for the fact that I knew what I was doing and there was boldness in me.
Profiling. I
was profiled because I was holding a fancy phone. I had my laptop with me inside the car. And you stop. Hey, stop that car, stop that car. I came down. Hey, mister, can you come down? I said, what can I do for you? And we had the conversation. It was one of them that said, I leave this one. It's not part of the people we are looking for. Who are the people you are looking for? It is a day. And in reality, Femi, on the street there, I don't know if you have observed this, the number of people that beg you for money have increased now. Even the money that you do not have. Just this Sunday, I don't usually do Facebook like that. Got messages on Facebook, please. And I hate to hear this word, I am hungry. Many of them is not that I want to buy shoe. I am hungry. And these are people that naturally don't ask you for money. And these are not people that are lazy, quote and unquote. And they don't have a job to do. Go to Old Garage there, go to Aleku Odo there where you have these laborers every day. You see them in their numbers there. Because it is somebody that have eaten that is filled up that will think of building a house.
Now, how is that a Tinubu fault?
Now, Femi, you still keep bringing it back to Tinubu. It is a time that the people will say, now, you now said, why is that a Tinubu fault?
Yeah.
Now, Tony laid the foundation.
For the purpose of conversation.
How much
handlers of the government have been saying, what is this government doing wrong?
Yeah. The government, okay, so if the government want to hear what they have been doing wrong, they have been insensitive to the plight of the people.
How so?
Thank you. When they came into power, we've been complaining about bad roads in Nigeria. What happened? When your senators, your House of Rep members want to get an SUV for themselves, what excuse did one of their members say? He said, because the roads in Nigeria are bad. Now, what happens to ALABI that goes to the farm to get products to come and sell in town? It means if you want to die on the road, die. People cannot feed. We spend 1.5 billion to buy vehicle for the house of for the office of the First Lady, not known to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. People cannot feed. We've spent 21 billion naira to complete the house that already during Buhari's regime, it was said to have gotten to about 70% or 75% completion stage. And the total monetary budget for that house was 7 billion naira. Now we now spend additional 21 billion to complete that residence. The vice president has not been sleeping under the bridge. He lives in a house. These are things we can put on hold to say, see, people are hungry. Don't forget, we've bought a yacht. They said it was Buhari's regime, but what it was paid for by this regime. Now there are talks in town. In fact, we've seen pictorial evidence. I know government have come out to defend it, to deny it, but I can tell you boldly that FEMI, anything the government of Nigeria comes out to, not only Tinubu's regime, but anything Nigerian government comes out to deny, they've done. We've seen pictures of an Airbus A320-200 private aircraft bought for the office of the president. And you know, when one of the former presidential candidates mentioned that this is not the time to buy it, one of the president analysts said, do you want the president to die? Do you know how many Nigerians died every day because they cannot feed? Do you know how many Nigerians die because they cannot? It is not very, very risky for you to get sick in Nigeria. To buy ordinary Panadol, it is risky. You sick now, you want to go to hospital, it is risky. No, and now you guys leave. Right. You leave, you gallivant, and you even show it to people. Don't forget also the president said, oh, we are just to show that we are reducing the cost of governance. We reduce the number of people that travels with the president. We reduce the number of people that travels with the vice president. But just a few months after, the president traveled with a team of 48 to Dubai with his two children, Yinka and what's the name of the other one, Sheyi, traveled with him. And when they came down from the aircraft, the normal protocol is that they welcome you as the president, the host country will welcome you as the president, and your ministers. But his two children were the first ones to be welcomed. We spend on frivolities. And you ask youth, they see what happens. They see you guys. Gone are the days that there are no social media. Right. That you will not get to see these things. They see you guys. Don't forget also, Femi, that this year alone we spend 90 billion naira to subsidize Hajj when people cannot feed. And you say Nigerians are impatient. What sort of patience do you want? That's the same excuse we give to Buhari for 8 years. Oh, it was 16 years of PDP. It cannot be solved in 4 years. By crooks and hook, he entered as a second time. And that's the excuse. And now you are now coming out to say you met a dead economy. Tinubu himself boasted that if not for him, Buhari wouldn't have become a president. So you cannot exonerate yourself from the woes of Buhari's regime.
Right. And, you know, fair enough. One will now say, as it stands at this time, you know, but by the way, to put a context to it, interestingly, what you're saying is the government of the day have been tone deaf, and their body language have been showing that whatever they are telling the people to do, they are not doing exactly.
Of course, realistically, they are not doing.
Is getting the young people worked up and angry.
They are not doing. Okay. See how large they live.
Very well. Oh, now, let's talk about the protest now. In some quarters, we've heard it's August 1st. In some quarter, again, we've heard it's from August 1st to 10th. And the handlers of the government have been saying, no, we don't want violent protest. Violent protest. You should say no. You know what ended the NSAS and the rest of it like that. And many persons have been talking, not just the handlers. Traditional rulers met yesterday at the villa, very high-ranking traditional rulers. And I saw a video, you know, and yes, a statement credited. It's a video to His Royal Majesty of Ife, who said the youth can protest, but they should not make it violent. And of course, that was part of what they said. But if going by the newspaper is one thing, and because of time, I like us to get there so that we hit the nail on the head. The Nation is reporting, and I hope Tony is hearing me as well. He says that planned protest, this is from The Nation, almost all the papers have it. Defense headquarters, DSS put men operatives on red alert, and they said planners target change of government. NSA assures governors of security. Now, there is a statement credited to the DSS. It said the long-term objective is to achieve a regime change. The service will maintain peace and apply all legitimate methods to achieve these. The defense, that's from the DSS, and the defense headquarters said citizens have a right to protest, to peaceful protest rather, not a right to mobilize for anarchy, to unleash terror. Troops will act dutifully to forestall such ugly occurrences. And let me put this one. It says, aftermath effect of protest on Nigerians is my concern. That's from the president. And the protest, the monarchs and everything, you know, I've said some of these things. And the Minister of FCT, Wike, is saying there is no room for protest. We'll get there. But with this security report from security agencies, don't you think maybe this protest might be truly hijacked? That's number one. Number two, do you see some political undertones going on with this? And number three, the issue of security is one that is beyond feelings and emotions and sentiment. We are talking about people's lives and properties, and there are agencies of government saddled responsibility to forestall such occurrence that might be ugly. So where do we stand in all of this?
FEMI, DSS Defense Headquarters, they have a constitutional duty.
Yes.
If you see anybody that want to
do that.
If you see anybody that want to form it, as a matter of fact, one of the people in Port Harcourt that wanted to, I just saw his tweet yesterday and he said, you are coming for a peaceful protest. If we see you vandalize everything, we ourselves will pick you, hand you over to security agencies. If DSS feel there are people that want to turn this protest to anarchy, arrest them, pick them up. It is your job. But it is sad that go and check DSS handle. It is only when people want to protest that you see Peter Funaya, PhD, come out to release statements. There are people disturbing people in Zamfara State. DSS have not discovered them. There are people killing people in Plateau State every now and then. Southern Kaduna, for a good 8 years, DSS did not discover them. But when people want to engage their civic, and who tells the government that, why are they afraid, for crying out loud? If the, January 2012 protest did not lead into anarchy, it was the same people in power now, alongside some other people, that led the protest again. They shut down Ojota, shut down Olayaya in Oshogbo, shut down everywhere for a week. If that did not lead to anarchy, why are you afraid now?
But they are saying they have intel.
This, Femi, this is gaslighting. If you can protest when you are in the opposition, allow people protest.
All right.
It is a peaceful protest, they call it. If you are there, you see people that want to foment trouble, pick them up. Let me add this, Femi. Everybody knows, except we want to hide under one finger, that the violence that greeted the NSAS protest was sponsored by the government. We saw videos of SUV with government numbers come to drop towns.
You have to prove that,
Femi,
actually.
There is a picture of a guy, one of the thugs in Lagos, with cutlass. The guy is still roaming about the street now. He's living large.
All right.
The NSAS protesters, some of them are still in prison now. So what are we saying? If government feels there are people that want to sponsor this, want to engage in violence, pick them up. It is the job of DSS to do that. Right. It is the job of the Nigerian Army to identify those ones. But you cannot say because it is the right. And even President Tinubu, acclaim himself as one of the a product of protest. He has been protesting all his life. So why would you get to power DSS, and say people should not protest?
Before I come to Tony, the DSS says, LADEJI, that the long-term objective is to achieve a regime change. If that one is coming from DSS, Femi, no government will allow a regime change.
Femi. Yeah. The last one, the NLC or whatever protest, they want to do the same statement DSS released, regime change. Now, see, the loyalty, yes, you need to protect the leadership or whatever. But your loyalty should be to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
All right, fair enough. Tony, can you hear me? Tony, are you with me? Okay, I hope he is. Tony, can you hear me? All right, let me stay with LADEJI. I said it that most papers have that particular story. This is an angle of this day. And this day newspaper reported that the traditional rulers, clerics, ulamas mobilized against hardship protest. Now, Oba of Benin is calling for patience. Or, of course, these are elders. You expect them to reign in peace. Or Oni of Ife, Sultan, other traditional ruler, Afenifere, sue for caution. Now, the traditional chiefs, kings, heads, ulamas, clerics had a meeting with the president, and this is part of what they are saying. As they say, the words of our elders are the words of wisdom. Shouldn't we be listening?
Femi, the elders have the right.
Young people be listening? Yeah.
Femi, the elders have the right, and they have a duty also to rein in on,
and these are people of influence.
And I appreciate the fact that they are even, making it make sense. They are making it sound, like, see, we are not saying you guys cannot protest, right, but let's make it peaceful. But not for someone like Wike that will come out to say, you can't say people cannot protest. As a matter of fact, Abuja, the people did not elect you. You are just a minister in Abuja. So for the traditional rulers, yes, they have a duty to encourage the people. But you can't keep asking people to be patient. Why the leaders that they see every day are not patient? These people spend money as they like. They are not patient in spending our money.
Now that the traditional heads are reigning in,
you still can't stop people to protest. The only thing they can encourage the youth is let it be peaceful. And one of the things they can do to make it peaceful is also that the security agents don't go like you, okay, so you that you are protesting. Now, let me give you an instance. In Lagos, some youths said, we are not protesting against the government. We want to protest in support of the government. Why is it that government will embrace that? When people want to protest to support you, you embrace it. Don't you know that also can be hijacked by people that doesn't like the government? Now, all of a sudden, they said they want to do Oro Festival in Lagos. What I asked the Lagos government handle when they posted that is that, now, you want to do Oro Festival, there will be a protest in Lagos between August 1 and 10, and you want to use 15 days to do Oro Festival. The people that want to protest in support of the government, will the Oro neglect them?
Well, and
the funniest thing,
there's a place for traditional culture.
Oro God is a God of justice. Why do we want to bring God of justice into an injustice situation?
We still have a lot to talk about on this matter, but we'll try and take this break right now. It's about the young people and the way they are feeling, especially about what is happening, the handling of the economy and what has become of the hope, under this same government, this same administration. I've been speaking with LADEJI and LADEJI, and they are still with me. We'll take this break. When we return, the conversation will continue. Please don't go anywhere.